Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 137. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. And today I have with me Adeola Adebusi. She's a digital marketing strategist, and she is the founder of socialmediabella.com. Hi, Adeola. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Frances. I'm doing great. Thank you.
You know what? I have given us such a brief background about yourself. Why don't you share with our audience what you'd like us to know about you and your company?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show here. I am so excited. And like you said, my name is Adeola, and I help businesses to increase their brand awareness and to also get more sales online with social media and also Pinterest. And as of right now, actually, that we are recording this podcast here, I'm actually based right now in Colombia in Latin America, but I am actually based in Canada. And one more fun fact, I am a Nigerian Canadian. So I'm pretty much mixed with a bunch of cultures and exposure. And once more, I'm so excited to be on this podcast. Thank you.
Talk to us about, it's almost like you're doing quite a bit of traveling around, and that's the beauty of being a digital marketing strategist, because you can pretty much operate your business from your laptop. And that's pretty amazing. Was that planned?
Yes. And I've always wanted to do this in the past 4 years now. So since about 2015 or so, 2015, 2016, because I'm the kind of person who likes to be exposed and learn about cultures, other cultures. And even though living in Canada, you do meet people from all parts of the world, from different countries in Africa, in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia. But I love just being soaked in, being immersed in the culture, and also learning about, the language and the lifestyle. So I love to travel very slowly. And so by that, I mean, when I go to a new place, I usually try to spend a few weeks, if possible, a few months. And so back in about 2015, 2016, when I started reading and learning a lot more about internet marketing and having an online business, I thought, okay, this is the perfect career. This is the perfect business for me, because I can pretty much work and operate a business from anywhere in the world. And the reason why I chose Latin America is because it's in the same time zone as the US, because that's where most of my business comes from. So it's just much easier to communicate with clients when I'm in the same time zone than if I were to move to like Asia, for example, where it's a huge time zone difference.
And working in Latin America, do they have like a huge tech incubator there? Is it really progressive in terms of like a lot of internet businesses that's operating in Latin America?
So in terms of internet-based businesses, I haven't met that many, especially here in Colombia. But when I was working in a co-working space in Mexico, I met a few people who worked for themselves or who just worked, from home or just worked independently. But a majority of them are like programmers, graphic designers, and very tech-based. Now that's in Mexico, but in Colombia, I haven't met that many yet.
What was that aha moment that you knew that your business was going to be successful?
aha moment was actually when I started engaging in multiple groups on Facebook and just talking to people. Because the thing is, when you are very soaked into something, like you think pretty much everyone around you knows what you know, right? But then when I started interacting on Facebook groups or even posting on my own personal Facebook profile, and I was getting pretty much the exact same questions that I had, like, let's say 5 years ago, from friends and from all these people in those Facebook groups. And for me, I thought, wow, that's very basic. I thought everybody knows this, or they can just Google it or just learn by themselves. But from helping clients and just helping people in general online. And they just kept coming back to me with, like I said, those basic questions. And that was when I knew that, okay, there is actually a demand for this, and there will always be a demand for it. And so that's when I knew, okay, that's a big aha moment for me.
And what was one of the basic questions that people are constantly asking?
So one of the basic questions that I get asked very often is, all right, so how do I reach my customers online, right? Like, how do I use my social media platform tools to reach people online and to make money? Because these days, even though like a lot of people have jobs and some people are, they are just working at a job that pays the bill, but it's not really the kind of career they are looking for. So a lot of people are looking for ways to add more cash to the bank, right? And so the one basic question I get asked very often is, how do I make money online, really? And as a business owner, how do I generate more sales?
And is that an easy answer?
Not really, because to make money online or just have an online business, a process that you have to go through, right? And so usually when someone asks me a question, like the other day, a friend of mine sent me a message on Facebook, and so she asked me about how to reach her audience on, I believe, Facebook, and then I had to get her to call me because I thought, okay, because there's a whole process, right? They have to go through. I could just give them the basics, but I'm the kind of person that's very thorough, right? So because I want to make sure that you actually understand the process, we go from step A to B to C. So at times, depending on their knowledge and depending on how much they can actually do some research on themselves, sometimes it's an easy answer, but most times it's not very easy for them, especially.
What problem exists in the world today that you would like to solve?
The one problem that I believe I can actually solve, as a, a one woman team, even though that can be challenging, it's pretty much showing people how to add an extra income to their main income online or even in person, because at times, depending on your personality, for some people it's easier to just work one-on-one, face to face with people. And I believe that that's the one problem that I can actually solve and that I would have to solve, just showing people how to make income for themselves, having a side business, which, I mean, depending on their goals, that side business can turn into a main business. But first, at the beginning, let me show you how to make a little bit of income on the side.
Tell us, what are you most grateful for right now in your life?
The most grateful for right now is just having that freedom and also the opportunity as well to be able to live and also work anywhere, because even though it might seem very easy, like, oh, just pack up and go, whatever, but for a lot of people, for one reason or the other, they can't leave that situation they are in or leave that environment they are in. So for me, I am so grateful to be able to pretty much do anything I want and just live and work from whatever it is that I want.
Now, Adeola, when you moved to Latin America, do you have family there? Did you know anyone there?
No, no. And that's the thing about me. And I get that question asked very often, especially from Nigerians, because most Nigerians, especially Nigerians abroad, like when they leave Nigeria, the only time they will actually go to like a foreign country will be like if they know somebody there, right? Like an auntie or uncle or or a sibling. But in my case, I just packed up and I just came here. So and and bit by bit by going out, I'm making friends as well.
And how long have you been there?
I've been here almost 1 year now. So I came here back in September. So this year, September, in 2 months will be a year. So yeah, close to a year.
Did you research the area or did you just pack up and say, I want to move here?
Well, usually, for me, like my research is usually just going on YouTube and blogs and reading about the new city, the new country, and seeing what it's actually like. Because at the same time, I also need a place that's safe and also that has a good internet connection as well. So if I'm seeing people posting videos and writing articles and stuff from the country that I'm interested in, then I thought, okay, that's a good country. And also based on the amount of content that's out there, because for some countries there aren't that many people that are actually living there from, let's say, North America, right? They might go there for a vacation or to travel, but like some countries aren't really that feasible. So they've been, especially if you want to run an online business. So usually I will do research on YouTube and watch a bunch of videos, read a few articles, and then I go there. And the thing with me is that I always love to try things, and if it doesn't work out, then I just move on, right?
And you talking about social media as a social media strategist, and you were saying that a lot of people ask you questions that you think are so common. What is something that we as entrepreneurs should know about your industry that we don't know?
Mm-hmm. So right now, my main focus is actually on Pinterest. And the reason for that is as a heavy Pinterest user, because I do have other websites. I do have a natural hair website. And in the past 4 years that I've been using Pinterest very heavily, one thing that I've noticed is that most businesses, like a majority of businesses that I come across with, are not on Pinterest yet. And to me, that is very surprising because Pinterest, it is actually a great platform, especially to drive traffic. Right? So if driving traffic to your business, to your website, is a very big goal for you, you should be on Pinterest. And one interesting thing that I often come across is when I talk to people like entrepreneurs online on Facebook groups, one thing that most of them often tell me is, I don't even know how Pinterest works, but for some reason I use it for my own use, right? So if there's an event coming up or they need an idea for, an outfit to choose, recipes, so on and so forth. So they know how to use Pinterest for their own personal use, but when it comes to business, they have no idea how it works. And so that's when, like I would go through, step by step what Pinterest is actually used for and why it is so different from Facebook and Instagram. Because as of right now, Pinterest has over 250 million monthly active users. And like I said, most of those people are just real, regular people who use Pinterest for their own personal use. So as a business, especially if you have an e-commerce business, you should get on Pinterest.
We can learn from successful entrepreneurs like yourself or brands. Tell us a brand or a business that is dominating that you admire and why.
A brand or business that I admire, and and one reason for that is because I am, a big natural hair blogger, and that would be Shea Moisture. And the reason for that is because I just admire the fact that they have a product, so it's hair care products, skincare products for pretty much everybody and for every hair type, for every skin issue. And like, I'm also impressed by the fact that, you know, every few months or so, they always come up with a new line of products. And I'm thinking, wow, like these guys, like they are pretty much dominating, like they are pretty much killing it when it comes to listening to their customers and creating products that would help their customers out.
Now, didn't he sell that?
Yes, yeah, I sold it, but still, the company exists still, right? So I still love, the fact that, they have multiple line of products for, hair care, skin care, and pretty much all hair textures.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is one valuable lesson you wish you knew before starting your business?
One valuable lesson would be would be the fact that it takes time, and also being organized, right? Because as the kind of person that loves to write lists every single day, every single week, I often have to tell myself that, okay, this will take more time than you actually thought it would. So maybe instead of giving yourself 1 week or a few days to work on it, maybe actually give yourself, a week or so. So that would be like one advice that I thought that I wish I knew, just giving myself more time to work on things, and the fact that things take longer than I wish they would.
Yeah, just managing. And that's so important as an entrepreneur because we want stuff to happen quickly and it doesn't happen as quickly as we think it is.
That's
we think
right.
it's going to happen because this is the first time we're actually doing that thing.
That's right. That's right.
It's just like my mom who's 91 and she'll say, things are going to be different because I've never been 91 before. So I don't know what 91 is going to look like, right? So we know that 91 is not going to look like 30. It's not going to look like 20, but you still don't know what 91 is going to look like. So as an entrepreneur, something you might think that, and that's so key. And I'm sure you see that a lot as a social media strategist. They're like, I want to be an influencer and I want to be a Kim Kardashian influencer 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And that's not so.
That's right. That's not possible.
A lot of people would like to know, how did you get the finances for your business?
This kind of business, it's a business that you can start very small because I don't have a product that I sell, like a physical product. So I don't have to worry about, having a store set up, buying the actual physical product and management and so on and so forth. So it's a kind of business that you can start with no money or very little money. So in my case, I don't have to worry about getting the finances for it.
But you have to have the finances to be able to travel.
Oh, oh yes, yeah. But yeah, so and with that still, I always make sure that I make enough money to be able to cover my expenses. And I don't even though like I'm based in Colombia, but I don't actually travel that much because right now my main focus is just on my business right now. And if I do need to travel, I just travel within my city or within the country.
So, Adeola, talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger you?
It's going to be to do the things that I want to do, that I actually want to do without thinking about, okay, so what would this person think? And I think that's very common because I believe that the older you get, the less you care about people's opinion. But as a younger me, as a younger Adeola, right? Because you want to please everybody and make sure that people are actually pleased with you and they like, what I want to do, what they want me to do. So I've actually found myself in positions where I was working at a job that I actually didn't like, or taking courses. So when I was back in college, just taking courses and just going because, okay, that's the thing that people my age do, or that I should be doing in general. But now, as I've grown older, I always think to myself like, okay, what is the one thing that I actually want to do, right? Without caring about, okay, what should somebody my age or what should somebody in my position do, and what's gonna make people actually be happy with me and pleased with me. Just doing the things that I just want to do. But then obviously making sure that it's the best choice for me as well.
And how do you get to that point?
Just by taking steps bit by bit. So, for example, with me coming here, for example, from Toronto to here in Colombia, just be like, okay, so just telling my friends and family that, okay, I'm going to leave my job and then I'm just going to do this thing that I've actually had in my heart for the past 3 years or so, and just, taking that one step at a time, And still, most times or a few times, I still find myself thinking, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. But then, in this day and age, 2019, when you can actually see what people are doing, like, your colleagues, friends, people you went to school with, and so you just feel left out, or you feel like you are being left behind, pretty much. And so I just thought to myself, okay, do you want to feel left behind, or do you want to please other people, right? And so just choosing one, like what's best for me, and just taking it one step at a time.
And how did your family and friends receive the news that you were going to quit your job and pretty much move to another country and do what you wanted to do?
Well, I've actually been like a free person since like a very young age. So about 9 years ago, yeah, in 2010, so after I graduated from college, I actually packed up my bags then and I went to Beijing, China. And that was actually the first time that I took such a huge bold step. And even then, like when I told my family, like, okay, so when I graduate, I'm gonna travel and leave the country and, go teach English and do this and that. They thought I was just joking, right? And until like the day, like the very same day that I was actually gonna go to the airport and I was leaving, and they were like, okay, what's going on? Like, and like, are you actually gonna do this? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, and since then, they've sort of, because they've always known me as being, that different, that odd one out. And I mean, it's crazy on their end because all my siblings are pretty much, they have the regular life. And I'm just the kind of person that just curious, right? So curious about life, curious about the other side. What's the other side of the world like? What, how are those guys living? What's their culture like? So they know, like I'm very different and at times crazy. But they just say, okay, well, if you want to do what you want to do, as long as it's good, right? Like nothing bad, nothing that's going to land me in jail, for example, something that's positive, right? Then they go, okay, well, I mean, that's crazy. I will never do that. But if you want to do it, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
What is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business day to day?
So I actually use multiple platforms to be able to manage everything. But number one, first of all, you're going to need a laptop, computer, best, a laptop, very basic. And then number two, you can have a phone, but then it's not that necessary because you can pretty much do everything on a computer and it's much easier. And in terms of technology, I'm going to say that you will need some sort of a platform that's going to allow you to manage multiple platforms at a time. So one popular platform is Hootsuite, right? Hootsuite, you can actually have your posts going out to multiple different platforms. So to Facebook, to Pinterest, LinkedIn as well, Instagram, yes, Instagram as well. So that's like a basic one, basic platform to be able to manage. And as well, in terms of talking to clients, most times you just have an email go out so that, it could be Outlook, Hotmail, Yahoo, so on and so forth.
What is a daily or a weekly habit that you do consistently that has given you the greatest success?
To that, I'm going to say just being organized and making sure that like I said earlier, like I'm the kind of person that loves to write lists, right? Because if it's not on paper, like if it's not actually written down, and by written down I mean with my hand and a pen or a pencil, then I feel like, okay, like I haven't really gotten anything done. So every day and also at the end of every week, I love to write out what I'm going to do and to also reflect on the things that I've done for that day and for that week as well.
Now, on that, when you're doing and I'm a to-do list type person too, is there an app that you're using to keep you organized?
In terms of an app, no, because I'm the kind of person that loves to physically put things on paper, right? So I prefer to write things down, and that's because I love to actually see things and touch things. So I don't use apps, even though there are many tools, many apps out there. But for some reason, I feel like if it's on an app, then it's very easy for me to forget. But if I write it down on paper, my book, then it's much more easier for me to remember and to also go back and, write this down, check it off, and so on.
We have something in common. I'm like that. I have so many steno notebooks, and the steno notebooks work for me because I like to cross it out. One of the things that I've started incorporating is Google Keeps. Have you tried that?
Yeah, so Keeps, once in a while, yes, I would use it, but I don't use it every single day or like as much as I should because I'm a, physical person. Like I actually need to write things down.
Yes, absolutely. The same here. Like I said, I also keep my steno notebook. So why don't you share with us what is the biggest achievement so far that you've accomplished in your business?
Yeah, I'm going to say the biggest achievement that I've actually accomplished so far in my business will be being able to work with 6 to 7 figure brands and just helping them to manage their business online and to also help them to gain more awareness with their customers online.
And what would you say has been the biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur?
It's going to be just gaining more, more business in terms of working on promotion and also marketing because, it takes time. Like I said earlier on, some things takes time and especially like the beginning stages, right? Just making sure to put more time into promotion and also just putting yourself out there. So that's going to be for me, that's going to be a big challenge right now.
Who are your top 2 influencers in your life and what lessons do they teach you?
My top influencer. So they usually change from month to month depending on what I'm actually working on. But right now, I'm gonna say that my top influencer would be Neil Patel. So Neil Patel, he's a blogger and he talks a lot about SEO. And so, like for me, and even though I've actually been going on his blog and consuming his content for so many years now, but I feel that for some reason, like there's always still something to learn from him in terms of having an online business.
Yes, and Neil Patel was one of the earlier adopters in the online space, and he definitely carved out an amazing niche for him. And that's really good that you had mentioned that the content that he's putting out there is still relevant. Because one of the things that I found being in the online space is that a lot of people that are in the space, and that's one of the biggest challenges that I've seen, is a lot of information is so outdated, but you don't know that it's outdated because you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I remember I have been in this online space for about 5 years, and I really hate that I didn't get up to speed faster. But one of the things that I know is that how you do business in 2014, 15 is not how you do business in 2019. So right. You can take when you look at like a platform like a ClickFunnels, what they did is they took all the pieces that if you break up ClickFunnels, everything that you have to do to operate ClickFunnels, you had to individually do that in 2014, 2015. And they have streamlined the process. But if you don't understand the process, it could be a little bit confusing, you trying to navigate through that platform.
That's right. That's it. That's it.
So tell us what's working well for you now in your business.
Right now, what's working well for me is actually creating more content. And we talked about Neil Patel just right now. So creating more content, and what I've been doing in the past month is, so creating content for different platforms. And usually that for me, that's creating a video. And so the video content will now turn into a blog post, and I can use that same blog post to educate people on Facebook groups, but not just sending people to that blog post, but just grabbing a bit of phrases from here and there in that same blog post and just sharing it with people. Because like I said, sometimes somebody might ask me a question, even though, like it seems like a very basic question, but it's, it actually goes very deep, like deeper into that. And so I thought, okay, maybe I should now go create a content if I don't have it yet, or if I do have that content already on the website, then just, grabbing, a part, a paragraph that relates to their question. So instead of always having to create new content based on the question that I have, now what I do is based on the questions that I get asked, or even that I see people asking in general online, creating a video content, and now to turn that video content into a blog post.
If someone spent a day with you, what would we learn that we don't already know?
If someone were to spend an entire day with me, they will learn that I love to do two things. Number one is that I love to work on my business, and I have this creative skills in terms of, coming up with different things that I can do online. And number two is I love to learn, right? Like I mentioned that, I'm the kind of person that's very curious. I love to learn about different things and also skills that I can use as well, for my own personal life. So if that's learning a new language, because right now I am in Latin America, so I need to actually perfect my Spanish and also learning different skills that would also help me to advance. So if that's learning more about internal business, more about SEO, and soon more about podcasting, right? I'm pretty much glued in front of my computer pretty much almost, but not the entire day, but almost the entire day.
Talk about the most memorable moment in life or business.
I'm going to say the most memorable moment in my life personally would be like a few years back. I would say, back in 2010, pretty much when I decided to just start doing things for myself. And so then that meant, taking a huge step and just packing up my things and just going abroad, going to a country where everything is different, because if you live in China, you're going to see that everything is different. The language, the culture, the food, politics, everything is different. So, and for me, from that experience, I've gained a lot more courage in terms of doing things that is very big, and, just going into an environment where I didn't know anybody, no family, no friends, but still having that courage to just go out on my own and meet new people, learn new things, and just expose myself, right? Because before that, I was pretty much like in this very tiny bubble, and I feel that day when I decided to just come out of that bubble and burst out of that bubble, that was when pretty much things started changing for me personally in terms of taking steps that are very bold and just huge and at times crazy.
And one of the things I want to kind of step back a little bit and just give a definition to our audience about being a nomad. It's called a person who does not stay long in the same place. And so would you classify yourself as a nomad?
Actually, no, because usually as a nomad, you would travel every couple months or so, every 3 months, you would go from one country to the next. And that was pretty much what I was doing in the first 6 months when I moved to Colombia, because what I'm doing right now is I'm actually looking for a permanent home, right? Permanent home in Latin America, so in a warm country as well. So, and in the first 6 months, because I was trying to figure out what city to live in, so Cali, Bogota, Medellin, Cartagena, so on and so forth. So every month or so, I would pack up and then I would go to the next city and live there for about a month. But right now, I'm pretty much in one place and I don't really travel out as much. So I can't really call myself a nomad because I don't really travel as much as like my colleagues, for example, who are always moving back and forth.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. If you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would have asked yourself, and I'd like you to ask the question and answer it?
Well, you pretty much asked most, but the one question that I would ask myself would be why Pinterest, I would say. So why Pinterest and not Facebook, Instagram that are more popular? So why am I trying to get as many businesses on that platform as possible? And so my answer to my own question would pretty much be because right now, as of the time we are conducting this interview, right now in 2019, so Pinterest is easier to get into right now as opposed to other platforms, even though it's been around since 2010 actually, so almost 1 decade now. But still, because most users who use Pinterest, they use it mainly for their own personal use and not, if you have a business or a website or a podcast or so on and so forth, usually most people aren't even aware of it yet, even though there are brands like eBay, Etsy, Target, and on Pinterest, because I guess they have that, the power to be able to get on as many platforms as possible. And also because Pinterest, what most people don't know about it is actually that it is a search engine platform, and so it works in a completely different way as Facebook, for example, or like when you go on Instagram, for example. So if you go on Google now, right, which is the world's largest search engine platform, and you put in a keyword or you ask a question or you search for a query on Google, Google will actually bring up Pinterest as well, right? And that just goes to show you that there's a big potential on there. But then at the same time, you also need to make sure that you have a profile that's optimized for your audience. So, and that's also optimized for search engines as well. So if somebody were to go on Google and put in, how do I start an online business, or how do I get more sales online, or how do I get more sales on Instagram, if there are enough content on Pinterest, so Google will pull up a few websites, and it's also going to bring up Pinterest as well, because Pinterest, I mean, it's a big website, it's a big platform. And so as a business owner or as a business in general, if you have enough content, so let's say you sell dresses, kids dresses, for example, right? And somebody goes on Google to look for, the best outfit for their kid, for example, right? And as long as you have enough content and you use the right keywords, the right description, the right pictures, videos, and so on and so forth, you shouldn't have a problem coming up online, right? So when somebody searches for you, either on Google or even on Pinterest as well, and you also want to make sure though that when you put up a pin on Pinterest, that pin goes to a specific page on your website, because Pinterest is a search engine and it drives traffic. So for example, with Facebook or Instagram, you just put up the post and you write the caption, you write the hashtag, and sometimes you can tag that product and so they can buy the product from you. But with Pinterest, you always want to make sure that every pin that you upload, every image, every single thing pretty much that you upload to Pinterest has the right keywords that your customers will be looking for online, and that pin will go to that page on your site, right? And so that's driving traffic for free, right? And you don't have to pay, pay for ads, even though you can also pay for ads on Pinterest as well, as a way to quickly boost your traffic.
We've come to the part of our interview, and it's called the Fun Facts Lightning Round. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to answer the questions quickly. And if there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
Sure, yes, I am.
Okay, the last movie you saw?
That's going to be Avengers.
And you relax doing what?
So I relax by going for walks.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Favorite singers, actually, because it's a group, and that's Hillsongs.
Your favorite dance song?
That's going to be pretty much anything by a Nigerian singer called Yemi Alade.
And your favorite month?
Oh, my favorite month? December.
Adeola, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience, if they are interested in doing business with you or they need a social media strategist, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, so they can connect with me on my website. So that's socialmediabella.com. And you can find me also on Facebook, and I'm also on Pinterest as well, and Instagram. And yeah, and they can send me a DM, or if it's on my website, just fill up the contact forms.
All right. That is a wrap.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.